Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to set up the VPC and network environment for our project. Okay, so let's go. The first thing, we are creating VPC. So since I'm in Australia, I'm selecting Asia Pacific Sydney region. Okay, that's the first thing to be careful. Now let's create VPC only. Since in this VPC we are deploying our Django application, I want to name it Django VPC. You can name it anything you like. I'm only using IPv4, and the CIDR for my VPC is 10.0.0.0/16. I'm not using IPv6. Tennessee default. Create VPC. So VPC is successfully created. Now second step is to create subnet. So here the subnet you see is a default subnet. So if we select our Django VPC, we don't have any subnet. So let's go ahead and create subnet. So we need to select our Django VPC. So I'm going to create actually two subnet, definitely. One subnet I will call private subnet, and another I will call public subnet. Well, I'm going to create three subnet, pardon me. The first one I'm going to create is the private subnet. Okay, so only one private subnet, private subnet, and we will have only one private subnet, and this is for Django VPC. In the availability zone, we are going to select Asia Pacific, Sydney, AP Southeast 2A, and the CIDR block mm, 10.0.1 network .0/24. Another VPC subnet. So this will be public subnet. Well, sorry, this is public subnet. Public subnet 1, Django VPC. This is public subnet 2, Django VPC. And the preference is, let's select AP Southeast 2B, and the CIDR block 10.0.2 network .0/24. It shows us 256 IPs. That's nice. And create the last subnet. That will be our private subnet. Just to be consistent, I want to put here D. Okay, this is the private subnet Django VPC. We don't have more private subnet. We have, well, public subnet. What happens here is again mistake. Actually, we are creating two public private subnet. Pardon me. Private subnet 1 and private subnet 2, and we're creating only one private subnet. Yeah. Okay, so 3 subnet altogether, and let's give it the CID block 10.0.3 network.0/24 256 IPs. That looks good. Now create subnet. So now in our VPC there are 3 subnets: private subnet 1, private subnet 2, private oh no, one thing I need to change. This is a public. Okay, the last one is a public subnet 1. Okay, this is where we need to confirm. So what I'm planning to do is I will deploy Django application, the Django server, in the private subnet so that it become not publicly accessible, because we want our load balancing server to talk to the backend Django application server, and I want to put the load balancing server in the public subnet. That's the idea. Okay, so for the application to have access to internet, we need to have we need to set up NAT gateway. Okay, so first let's go ahead and create the NAT gateway. I will call it Django NAT gateway. So we want to put this in a public subnet, so we can put this in any public subnet. So I'm selecting this one, connectivity type public, and we don't have an elastic IP, so we need to allocate elastic IP and create NAT gateway. Okay, NAT gateway is created. Now second thing is we need to have internet gateway for the public subnet to have internet access. So let's create internet gateway. Django internet gateway. Yes, and we need to attach it to VPC. So select our VPC, Django VPC. Okay, all good. So now we go back to the route table. So here we have only one route table, which was created as we created the VPC. So let's make it a public route table. Public route, and right now if you look at the route, so right now this is only limited, the routing is limited within VPC, but we want to make it public route, so we need to associate this to internet gateway. So this means outside of this VPC, which is the internet, can talk to our VPC through internet gateway. So let's select our internet gateway. This is our Django internet gateway, and set change. Okay, now this make our public route table aware of the internet. Now let's go back to route table again and create a private route table. Private route. Select a VPC, select our Django VPC, create route table. So since we want this to be private and right now it only knows about our VPC. It does not know about the internet. So internet cannot access to this. This route is not aware of internet. So that's good. Let's go back to our subnet. Now we need to associate this routing to our subnet. Okay, so let's select the private subnet, and we can, if you look at the route table right now, okay, there is something that I need to delete. That my oh, I don't know why it is there, but private subnet. So I'm gonna edit route table association. So right now, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's right. That's a private subnet, right? So route table, and if you go back to public subnet route table, that's interesting. Go to route table and public route table and routes and subnet association. Okay, from here, if you look at the public route, there are no subnet associated. So from the route table, we need to associate. So associate to edit, not edit route, edit subnet association. So this is a, what was that? Public, right? Okay, I forgot that. This is a public route. So edit subnet association. We want to add public, this one, and save association. And go back to private and private route and edit subnet association and do private save change. I believe it's already done. So if I look at the public route, this is the public route. So this is the internet gateway, and that looks good. Let me check this one more time. This is our Django internet gateway. That's good. Okay, not a problem. And look at the private route. So we have subnet. This is very important. Private route has private subnet 1 and private subnet 2. That's very important. And the public route has this is the public route table, and the subnet is public subnet. That's good. So we complete the setting up VPC and the necessary network for our configurations. Okay, see you in the next video, where I will be launching the EC2 instances, and there we will be using a bash script to configure Django application server, as well as we will be using bash script to set up the Apache as a load balancing server.